we are finished.
Oh, I didn't know we were doing that yet. Okay.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Sonia. We're here with Elena today, and Big John's here today. And today we're gonna have some fun in the kitchen, and we're gonna make some pasta. Yes. And I will. She says that she'll be just in part of video today because she doesn't want to be in everything. She just wants to be in marketing, making the dough and all the fun parts. And we thought this would be a fun video while everybody's at home.
Fun to do with your kids.
Yeah, this is fun to do with your kids. We all know we can go buy cheap pasta, but this is really fun and it tastes really good.
And it's things you have in your house.
Yes.
So it's like you can go out and shop for other things, but it's things you have in your house.
So why do you like it? Is it fun to make?
I like
the dough. And play with it.
Yeah, it's like Play-Doh.
Alright, well let's get started. I'm going to leave them to it.
So we have two different flours here. You can see that it's half semolina and half AP flour.
All purpose.
Yeah. And Elena has all AP flour because it's easier for kids.
And we all have it at home.
And everyone has it. If you're looking for the semolina, the only place we found it is very easy to find is Winco, had it in the bulk section. So there you go. But you can use all purpose if you're just making it at home for your family.
You have it on Amazon.
So we're gonna make a volcano. L-C-A-N-O. What's the word for that? You know, volcano. So we're gonna make a volcano. We're gonna dump our flour on the table. So that's the first thing, is you make a big pile. So you need to know there's a little bit of mess involved in this. Obviously that's why I wear a black shirt with white flour. So now we're gonna put a hole in the middle just like Elena's doing. Make sure we clean this table very well beforehand. We're just making a big volcano. Perfect. And so we have four cups, each of us, so four cups of flour. So Elena has 4, I have 4, and we have 4 eggs. So we're gonna crack the eggs. So there you go with that first, and then you have a fork, but we need salt.
Well, Lena's made it so many times she even knows what to do.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Need salt. We're gonna take, for 4 cups, 1 tablespoon. Some people, you have to salt the water too, and flat, yeah. You have to salt the water too, but if you don't salt the dough, you're gonna need a lot more some people mix that into a little bit of water. Oh, her volcano is exploding already. She's like, all right, whatever.
Okay.
The salt into the water, but all you do now is you scramble the eggs and you're mixing the salt in, and then with every little bit, you're gonna grab a little bit of the flour in. So just moving the flour into it.
I had no idea that's how you made it.
Yeah, perfect. You start to mix it in, and all I'm doing is incorporating the flour into the eggs. That's the basic proportions of it, is 1 cup of flour to 1 egg, and in this, for 4 cups, it's 1 tablespoon of salt. Had to add a little bit more water, warm water to it, because the eggs were not big enough. And so, I guess I should say, you need like extra large eggs. So for each one, if it's a small egg, you won't have enough fluid to do this. What I'm doing is just like a 1/4 turn knead, and I'm kneading the dough. You have to do it for a good, that's why people buy their pasta probably. You need a good 10 minutes of doing this.
So if there wasn't enough eggs,
so if there wasn't,
and it's not coming together, you add a little
if it's
water.
Really like ours was still powdery and needed some more, you add a little bit more water, till not a lot, till the texture starts to come together. And then after that, if it's, let's say it goes a little bit more the other way, you add a little bit more flour. But it's something of a feel. So right now we're not to the point where it is come together like a pasta dough yet. It should be pretty stiff. And again, mine is half semolina, half all-purpose. So
Elena's is all-purpose. She's still working her. Sorry, go ahead.
The other thing we're going to use is it's a bench scraper. You've seen us use these. Use any type of thing, but it scrapes all the flour together. And you're gonna try to get all of that. I'll help her out until she comes back. You're welcome. But this is something that, if your kids like Play-Doh or playing with Play-Doh, this is a Play-Doh feel. Hers is feeling really nice. And most people have all-purpose at home.
Yeah.
So that's why this one's nice to do with your kids at home. So she's gonna come back over here and knead this dough a little while longer. It smells really nice. And there we go. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna knead it for a good 10 minutes.
My little Italian girl.
That's right. Then after this, we're gonna let it sit for an hour, sealed. We're gonna use a little tiny trash bag, which I'll show you in a minute. We're gonna use that to make sure that it can rest and all the gluten changes, and then we'll roll it through the pasta machine, which we have between us.
She goes, never eat it.
That's eggs that are not cooked.
It's against the rules.
Hey.
But she's eating it.
What are you eating? You gotta
I'm breaking the
work.
rules.
It's later we eat
I'm
it.
breaking the rules.
It needs to come to this like soft, supple feeling when it's done, and right now it's just not very, you could see that it was like really ugly looking, and what we're looking for is it to get smoother and smoother, which it will. I think Elena's is getting smoother and smoother.
For yours. Yeah.
So,
Kneading the dough.
Play-Doh, you give all your kids a blob of this and say, hey, start kneading this, start squishing it. We have like 5 more.
Okay.
Alright, so we're going to show you a trick. We did knead them. Probably could knead them. You cannot over knead pasta dough. So that's a fallacy. You can knead it a lot. So if you're like, oh, you know, I kneaded it too much. If anything, it's under kneaded. So we're just taking this because you're like, why are we throwing it away? It's because you can do saran wrap, but the easy thing is it's got to sit. You just put it. You don't want air. You're going to put your dough ball in it and let it, you're going to try to take all the air out of it. And you're going to set it on the counter for an hour. So it's got to rest at least an hour because all the gluten and all the goodness change. So you're going to set it on at room temperature out for an hour. So you want no air in it. Good. All right, so then we're gonna have a little competition and teach you something hopefully at the same time. We're gonna show you a simple sauce that we're gonna make with this pasta later. That Elena's probably just gonna have butter. You're gonna have butter and salt with yours. With your noodles, you not have sauce? No. Then maybe some cheese? Yes, no? Maybe. She's not decided. Okay, not needed to tie it. So we're just gonna set it there for now. Okay, so we both have tomatoes. I know. We both have tomatoes, and I'm cheating a little. I gave you something different. So you use that one, and I get to use that. So you can use whatever knife you have at home, but I'm gonna show them a trick first. Okay, not this kind of trick, like teasing, but a trick. So, you gotta open these. I don't want you to get hurt. You want a different knife? Better. Okay. So, see.
Here's like little cherub tomatoes.
Yeah, they're just little tiny grape tomatoes. So, we're gonna use all these, but you need to have them all cut in half. So you need to cut them all in half.
And this is for our sauce.
This is for a sauce. So Elena's gonna cut these in half, and I'm gonna cut these in half, and I'm gonna show you a trick as I'm doing it. So you need to be careful. Okay. I know you've done it many times. Okay. And who's gonna finish first? We'll see. Ready? We'll see. So here's the trick. So somebody at work, actually a chef I worked with, great chef. His name is John Herdman. He's in Texas. I've seen lots of people do this since, but he came along and like, whoa, that was like saved the prep cook so much time. You take a paper plate, regular plate, whatever, and you take them between. You don't squish them. You just set them on there. Use it to cut. And you just take your knife.
This would also be good for visually impaired people.
And you cut across. And voila, you cut them all in half.
Wow.
So I cheated a little. So I can help. But that's the way to do it fast, so you do not need to do all of that.
Oh
so
my gosh. First cutting skills. Just make a nervous,
look,
Sean.
here's what we'll do. We'll trade. How about we change? You do that.
Yeah,
So we're gonna put some here. Yeah, I'm sure. Put it on. Ready? Come here. Come here. No.
Oh, do them all.
Just stay.
Uh-oh. We had
Not push down. So you just set them there. You see? And you use a knife, any knife you have. We have a nice serrated bread knife, and you just cut.
Oh, what do I do? Should show this one. Okay.
So they're all cut in half.
That's cool.
There you go.
Thank you, John Herman.
Yes, thank you, John Hurton. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the rest of these tomatoes. We're gonna get those. We're gonna get some red chili flakes, which we're gonna use. We're gonna use some, this is Winco, but it's a blend of Pecorino Romano and Parmesan cheese. We're gonna use, I can always say we don't drink, but somebody gave us a bottle of white wine. You wouldn't really normally use this is a Riesling, so it's probably not the right kind of white wine you'd use, but a drinkable white wine, probably a dry white wine's better, but a drinkable white wine, fresh garlic, which I'm going to show you a different way to cut, and then fresh basil, which we're gonna tear.
Okay. Okay, Elena's getting started on the basil here, and we were just ripping them?
Yep, you're just ripping them. You don't want to really bruise any of the flavors out of it or turn it black, and you don't need to cut it with a knife. You just have. We have our tomatoes, basil torn, a little bit of red chili flakes. What we did is we took the garlic and crushed it so that they came apart and close. And then we cut the little end off. Garlic tastes different, just like other things, depending on how it's cut. So you can use a planer or a Japanese mandolin or a knife, and what we're going to do is we want a very fine shaving of these. So the reason why you're doing that is because when we put it into the oil later, I'll show you, it's going to toast, and it's going to have a very nice aromatic, very light flavor. Okay? So I'm going to do that to all this, and then we'll come back. So this is the garlic, the head of garlic. And then these are the cloves that have been peeled, and this one has an end on it, this one has the end taken off. And then this is what you want, a pile of them all sliced. And you can see, you want them pretty paper thin. So old times they would use, the old Italians would use like a razor, and you would just slice with a razor. You can use a Chinese mandolin or Japanese mandolin, you can use a knife, but go slow. Some people they have planers that do it, box graters, with the one side of it, but it needs to be thin. So there you go.
Okay. Thanks.
We have the semolina one, and we have the all-purpose one. You see how it's like nice and smooth, and this one's a little bit different because the flour has a heavier texture, but this one is all-purpose, and it's just a nice, nice feeling to it. So we have this pasta machine. We got ours, I don't know, at like Tuesday mornings or something. And it clamps to the table, and Elena's going to crank it. And we're going to throw some on these sheet pans here. So you first got to take it and cut it into manageable pieces, because it makes a lot of pasta. Like this is, imagine that so this is 8 pounds of pasta. So this is a lot of pasta actually. So we're going to take these in different chunks, so we'll know these are all the semolina ones over here, and I'm just getting them kind of more manageable. And then I'm gonna try the semolina because we haven't done this in a while. I'm just gonna squish it down.
But
I'm just squishing. Yeah. And then we're gonna crank it through, but we're gonna put it on the highest notch, which is 9. Oh, sorry, the other way, which is 1.
Oh, okay.
And then we're gonna run it through, and we have to run it through this slowly. Go ahead. And you have to move it through each little notch. And if you don't do through each notch, you skip, it'll really rip. Go ahead. And about halfway through, there's a couple of tricks on how to make this faster. Like you can make it into a loop if you wanted to, so that it would keep going. It's really nice with 2 people, because typically you do this alone. See, so we're on 5 now. We're gonna bring it all the way down until it's almost 1, and I'm sorry, almost all the way to 9, which really basically all you need to know is you can almost see through it. And if it's too long, you cut it in half when you're working with it, so you make it easier on yourself. It's looking like pasta. And so if you were making lasagna, like with fresh sheets of pasta, you would just do this. These are the sheets. You'd make them the way you want, and then you go ahead there, Elena. And we repeat this over and over again. If you go too fast, it changes it, but it's fine.
Good help today.
So we're down to 8. We're almost at the bottom now. And the reason why is because this stuff gets really, when it boils, it gets thicker. Okay. Beautiful pasta.
I can't believe how much it stretches out.
Yeah. Beautiful. So now the thing is...
Yeah. It says charnu.
Okay.
That's a similar.
So now we'll change to do yours next. So we're just going to show you that it has another way of running it through, and you can do this with a knife, but it does like linguine or capellini.
Oh, it cuts it.
You ready?
Is that what you're saying?
Yep, it cuts it. So
okay.
This we might, just because we want to be able to manage it, we don't want the noodles to be so long. Just do that.
No, you don't want to eat one big from there.
Ready? We're just going to go like this, and she's going to slowly feed it through. And it comes out the other side. Oh, gotta keep going though, or it'll rip. So she's got them. And there's the noodles. They take a lot less time in the water, we'll show you. So we're just gonna run them in a little bit of flour so that we can keep them separate. You don't want a ton of flour. And then we're gonna set them on there until we drop them in the water. We're gonna do all the rest. So I said ready again. She's very fast with it. You really kind of want to be gentle. There you go. Thank you. Or you can lay them in a straight line too. That's the other way you can do it. So it's important that you have salted water. And so adding in some salt, you want to be sure. The thing is, for a lot of sauces, you want to use some of the reserved starchy water afterwards. So you can't have it so super salty that when you add it, it reduces down. So that's why we added some salt to the pasta too. So we have a little bit of pasta just for Elena first. She just wants hers plain. So it's just in salted water, and it falls to the bottom, then it rises, and it takes very little time. And then over here, just want to show you real quick that we put things in order. So it's oil, garlic, red chili flakes, tomatoes, white wine, butter, basil, cheese, chicken.
Whoa, that's a big bowl.
There you go.
Let me see. I don't know if I got it. Okay, try it. It's hot.
See if it's any good.
You don't need to try it now. Wait. No, we just dumped in the semolina noodles. Yeah. Oops.
Ready? I gotta see this a little. while it's doing that. And they'll kind of float when they're done, kind of.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Okay, we're gonna put in some herb oil or some oil of any sorts at the beginning. And the reason why you want that is because you're gonna want to get all the flavors out of the chili flakes and the garlic. So we're gonna put some of this shaved garlic in there that we talked about earlier. And we're gonna want that to brown, and we're gonna throw in some chili flakes. It's bubbling and we're getting it to brown. So we're gonna make sure that the garlic is not gonna burn, but we want it to kind of slightly change the color. It's really changing the smell in here. What's it smell like in here?
Garlic.
But
Good
not
garlic.
strong.
Not
like,
strong.
Like a light smell.
Not like burnt. Okay. Like an Italian restaurant.
But see that it's basically toasting in there, and that's what we want. We want the chili flakes. We want that. Then we're going to take a good amount of those tomatoes, throw them in there. Just trying to get them to get a little bit of flavor. I add just a touch of salt to them. Okay. And now, oddly enough, is when we get the pasta out of the water. I don't want to overcook fresh noodles. Like these noodles are already done, and yeah, we want to keep the pasta water if we can. So we're going to put this noodles right into there, and they really don't take much time. In there.
I'm thinking after both of this, I think.
Yeah, it's more than enough for both of us. So this is the semolina type that we have here. And you want to make it so that it's undercooked when you put it in the, coming out of the water, because you're going to cook it more with the sauce.
So how do you know it's done? It's close. You just
Oh
try
no,
it?
you
Like,
try
what
it,
do
you
okay.
taste it.
Okay.
So we have that. We're going to throw in just a little bit of white wine. We're going to throw in a little bit of butter, and quite a handful of basil. And, oh, you can smell it. It smells nice, huh?
No, it's okay.
So we marinated some chicken. We're going to add that in as well. So be careful because I don't want to scratch this pan. We're going to add now, we're going to let that wine cook a little bit in there so that it kind of cooks out a little bit. And we're going to add in a little bit of this Pecorino Romano cheese to the mix. And some chicken.
If you don't have fresh pasta, you can still make the same dish.
Oh yeah, this dish doesn't need fresh pasta in it.
But we have it.
But since we have it, it's a good one to have. All right, we're going to plate it up and we're going to eat. There we go.
Okay.
Hang on one second. Yeah, that's going to be good stuff. All right.
Okay, we are finished.
I didn't know we were doing that yet. Okay. But thank you for being with us here. We made some noodles. It's very good. And bye-bye. She says bye-bye.
All right, you try it. Tell us what you think.
Well, it smells great. It needed more cheese. And yeah, it's time to go eat.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Here, I'll turn the camera. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you maybe try this with your kids while we're all at home. It's a really fun activity to do in the afternoon. Do it way early though, because it does take a little time. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to us. Okay?
Bye-bye.
See you next week. Bye.